Welcome, Barbara and Margaret. I have few questions because I have read your book many times and I still want more clarifications for a common reader so that they have better idea and concept about the book and they can use this for their practical life. So could you please explain to me briefly what the cells are?
Hello, this is Barbara. I want you to imagine that you are outside in a very dark night with many, many stars shining. Can you see them? I want you now to think of your body. And then I want you to think that inside your body is a great universe of cells. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Think of the universe of stars out there and within you a universe of cells. It is the Native American belief that all cells have a consciousness. All of them. So this means that what you think, what you hear, what you see on television, are thoughts coming into you, are thoughts coming into your cells. Because the cells are alive and have a consciousness, they will react. That's one reason why one has to watch what one watches on TV, what one reads in the newspaper, and also I want to bring in about a wonderful book of laughter. Think what it does when your cells react to that feeling of laughter. It's not negativity, it's positivity. I think, in my opinion, and Margaret's too, the most powerful concept of all is that love heals. Love heals. And this is what we used when we tried to find a way to heal Margaret of her cancer. Margaret, do you want to say anything right here? This is Margaret coming here. Here, Margaret.
Hello, it's Margaret. I send greetings to everybody. When we're born, or when at the very beginning of our conception, there was one cell that has the blueprint for all the cells of the body. And this is where all the coding is for health and life throughout our lives. Each of our cells has this blueprint within it, and yet it has its own functions. The cells communicate with one another. The cells understand each other. They think as one. And so it's extremely important for the emotional state of the person or the intellectual state that can affect the cells in a positive or negative way. And it's so very important to keep a positive frame of mind, a positive state of emotions. The cells maintain the body by growth and by taking in nutrients and taking away toxins. If you, let's say, if you don't eat on a proper schedule, if you eat late and then go right to sleep, the toxins will stay in the body and arthritis can occur. I have problems now with arthritis in my toes and two of my fingers because very late eating and then going to bed. And so I had to become very aware of my habits, to think of the cells, not just to think of me, what I want, myself, my ego, but that I wanted to say, I want to take care of my body and my cells so we can live a long time and have a very good journey. Thank you.
But tell me briefly again, briefly in nutshell, what the cells are in 2 or 3 lines so that our listeners may know what the cells basically are.
The cell, you cannot see your cells. If you have a microscope, if you were a scientist, yes, you could see them. But my concept of it is that they are individuals, they are intelligent, they are conscious. And what you think and what you do affects your cells. If you behave in a positive manner, they will be happy. If you behave in a negative manner, they will be unhappy. And as Margaret has put at the very beginning of the book, her son-in-law conceived of cancer as being unloved cells. So we took that and said, all right, why don't we see what is Margaret doing that makes her cells think that they are not loved? Now, again, what is cancer? Those are wild cells. They're not moving along in harmony. So why is this happening? Why is this? This is what we are trying to do.
Yeah, that's very good. I think that answers my basic question. Now we move on to our next question. How do they function in the body? How do the cells function in the body?
I conceive of the cells being a factory of cells. They are the workers inside the factory, which is the physical body that you look at, the outside shell. Some of them have functions of digesting food. Others have glandular functions like the thyroid and so forth. Now, one thing I caution Margaret about, and she just mentioned to you, is that food eating patterns are very important, because if your cells are expecting a schedule of digesting the food, they want time to do this. But if you eat just before you go to bed, then the functioning of sleep is intermingled with the digestive process. And so I explained to her that it's almost like they have to engage more workers, pull them away from a different function to try to get this work done that should have been done earlier. And because of this, you wouldn't want to build a car in a factory where people have to rush at the last minute to do what should have been done earlier. You would expect to come up with an inferior car, probably. Well, in the case of the cells, maybe they cannot get rid of the toxins well enough that have come into your body due to the food that you've ingested. So you've got a poison that has to go somewhere, and in her case, we feel that it went to her toes because she has arthritis in her toes. What is arthritis? It's inflammation. It's something that should not be part of the body. So as for what the cells do, they all have their own specific jobs. And so if you can run your factory in a peaceful and harmonic manner, then your cells, my feeling, would be happy and healthy, and you will not be running to the doctor every 5 minutes.
Margaret, could you please tell me, with your experience while you were struggling with your bladder cancer, and how did you find that how the cells of your bladder were functioning, the cells of your whole body were functioning? How did you find this experience?
The very first thing I had to do in the assignment, if you read the book, was because the problem of unloved cells become cancerous cells, I had to give love to my cells and connect to them as entities. I didn't think of, at the beginning I used to just think of my body as a problem, that I had a problem with this bladder infection that was not healing. But then I had to understand that the body is made up of billions of cells, and that I was responsible for the health of the cells, and I had to provide a stable, harmonious, positive environment. I gradually got so that I could ask them questions and say, what is the problem with my bladder? And the cells, because I'm a very visual person, the cell showed me a picture of a road that was falling in, and that there were workmen trying to repair the road. So the cells can give you messages, even either by voice message or by just an awareness, or by symbols, or an analogy of the road. So I realized that it was my mental, emotional framework, the environment, the weather. They would say, well, we are like weather vanes or weather socks that show the currents of your thinking. So if you're in a bad mood, if I was in a bad mood, all the cells felt the terror or the sadness of the bad mood, and that the mood of the person determines the health of the cells. And they told me that I could not fake it. If I pretended to be happy and I was really not happy, that gives more injury to the cells than if you're truthful and saying, I'm having a bad day and I will try to change this. And they like honesty, and they like to be loved, and they like to be paid attention to, and not looking elsewhere, running here and there to doctors, running here and there to other people for advice. You have to learn to go into yourself and give love to your very beautiful body that was given to you, and honor you. You have to give honor to the cells, give honor to yourself, and give honor to the joy of being alive. And then from that grounding, you can communicate with your cells. And if you feel it's difficult, then just send love to them and to yourself. And that through love, that is the key of healing.
And could you please tell me more, how do the cells, do they feel?
Oh, yes. The cells feel strongly. They have very strong opinions. It's very interesting. They are individual, and yet they think as a group. So you can't hide and say, I'm not going to talk to this group of cells, or I'm going to focus on that group of cells. They all listen, and they all know what's going on. And so because really we are all one, and we're one with the earth and one with the trees and nature and each other, there's no division between us. And so I had to focus on being very careful about what I ate. I had to be very careful to remove myself from violence or conflict situations. I had to be extremely careful about my own internal environment, that I was not depressed, that I was not remorseful or worrying, because I'm a great worrier. I worry enormously. And I had to look up in the dictionary what in English the word worry means. And in Old English it means to strangle. So if you have a tendency, the way I do, to worry, and women do this, they want everything to be in perfect order, and if they can't do it, then they worry. But to worry is to strangle, and to strangle is to strangle the life out of the cells. So it's extremely important to become a beautiful musical instrument of harmony and love. And from that, bringing in love and light to the cells, you work with your cells and you work with your body, and then you will find that your health will return the perfect balance. Disease is without ease, without harmony. And to bring harmony and ease back into the body, it starts with your own intent of your mind and your emotions. Thank you.
I want to add one more thing to Margaret. At one point, at the very beginning when we tried healing her, she had this desire, this feeling that, why don't I just forget everything? Why don't I just go away and just forget my body and live happily ever after, dreaming upward. And the cells said to her, Margaret, you have to live in your body. You have to love your body. We have to stay with you. We are your building blocks. And Margaret said, I'm sorry for all the mind moaning and groaning. Why don't you change channels? Like in television, we change channels. The cell said, we can't. And so Margaret said, oh dear, well, I will try to be more attentive to you.
Barbara, can you please also tell me a little bit more about the cells, that how you have been guiding Margaret in controlling of the system of cells in the body? And could you please tell me how can a person control his or her cells in the body?
Margaret and I, when we wrote emails back and forth, that's, I think you know, if you read the book, that's what we did. So the flow of emails from one person to the next, day after day, really encouraged what the next step would be to try to help her. We were very happy that she was able to contact her cells, to actually speak to them, and they to speak to her. And then we had to go into more subtle things, such as, do you have good self-confidence? Do you believe in yourself? And when she looked into herself, she saw she did not. Again, this is negative. This is a negative thing. So Margaret had to settle down and be aware of the thoughts that she should not have, because that's food for the cells. So that was, I can't remember what were the other things. Harry, tell me, what else did you want me to know here or say?
Yeah, could you please tell me about the negative control and the positive control?
One thing she would do is her thoughts, she didn't pay attention to her thoughts. And if she passed someone by, she'd say, oh, that person really looks very unhappy today. And we asked her to write down these thoughts. And if it's negative, then change it to positive right away. And so in this case, she would say, after that thought that the person seemed unhappy, oh, I think that she's looking better today. And so she did this for, I don't know how long. She became very unhappy with it, because who does catch his thoughts? You know, we think and we pay no attention. But actually every single thought you have is food for your cells. So you have to be aware that they should be positive thoughts, positive food, rather than negative.
Yeah, here it's Margaret here again. It turned out to be a very good thing, this exercise. I could either worry about specific things, or I could worry about imagined things. I mean, I'd hear a noise and I said, oh my goodness, they're rioting in the streets. And in reality, it was a car going down the road, and I was imagining. So I had to learn to be a policeman of my thoughts. I had to watch very carefully what I was thinking, and not to lose energy over negativity, because you can let that negativity creep into your thinking. And so because I had to write down all the negative things I was thinking and then change it to positive thinking, I now know and try as best I can to stay positive. But sometimes you slip. But it's a nice exercise to know. Thank you.
We decided that Margaret had something that we called self-loathing, meaning poor regard for oneself. So she was asked to do an exercise called house cleaning. And here's what I wrote to her. Margaret, you need to do a meditation to remove self-loathing. You need to delve into the dusty drawers of your mind and clean them out. Empty them. turn them over and thump them hard so all the dust comes out. And then you need to fill these drawers with sunshine. And after you have done this, you need to close these drawers and know that they are there in your mind, full of sunshine always. Suggestion: do this daily until you have it solid. Don't rush to another exercise until you have put this down pat. Empty drawers. Fill them with sunshine.
As I was sitting here listening to Barbara, an idea came. I don't know whether it came from the cells, that in your life you have many friends and family members that are in your life and that are not in your life. But what is always in your life are your cells. And so know that they are your closest, truest companions, and honor them. Be very appreciative of all the work, the tireless work that they do for you, whether you know that they exist or don't, or do not know that they exist. So give them love, give them honor. They are your oldest friends. They came in with you, they created you, they're supporting you through your life, and just be so appreciative of these dear friends that are within you, your cells.
I want to talk to you about the friends that are your friends outwardly, not within your bodies. I want to think of a time when a friend has betrayed you in some way. Usually we don't ever forgive this. No, we don't do that. It will happen once or twice in a lifetime, and we just go on with our lives. But realize that this incident is negative. It is a negative thought, and your cells have been fed this thought, and that thought will remain within them unless you take them out. So what I suggest, and what I suggested to Margaret, is love, 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 love. That is the most powerful, positive thought you can have. And so today it was interesting. Just before we started this broadcast, there was someone here who was very unhappy because a friend had done something wrong for him. And I said, look, just change it to love. Figure that for some reason it's a blessing in disguise, and whatever was wrong is over, and just give that person love. I wasn't thinking so much about that person being given love. I was thinking about the person whose thoughts had been negative. Because if he can forgive and instead give love to even the worst of you, the friends who've betrayed you, that frees your cells. Because remember, disease comes from imbalance, negativity.
Would you please tell me more about cells? And I have another question. Do the cells have mind?
Yes, they have mind. They have consciousness. They hear everything you say. They feel everything you feel. That's why you have to guard your mind and keep it positive. Just keep it positive. And of course, none of us are perfect. For heaven's sakes, not that. But if you can just become a little more mindful of your thoughts, and if you see, oh, I should not have said that to that person 2 or 3 hours ago. Well, don't be hard on yourself. None of us are perfect. Just say, oh, to yourself, I am sorry. And then say to yourself, I am sorry, cells. I didn't mean to send you this negative thought. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
When I was asking the cells about this, whether they could hear, they said that they had big ears. They hear everything, and nothing is hidden. So be very aware that your cells within your body hear and feel everything. And they're extremely, extremely sensitive. It's Margaret. Thank you.
And when cells sometimes don't like something in the body, and do they react?
Yes, they react. They tell us, there's a quote somewhere in the book, that they shut down or they shrink. Yes, they become out of balance. They become out of balance.
So it means I can summarize your short interview that the health of the body depends on the health of cells. Once we have learned to keep our cells healthy, we can keep our body healthy. And thank you very much. And I am sure our listeners would benefit from this interview. And if they have